I've been involved in the politics of Cross River State from the 1980s, especially at the local government level. I moved to the state level from the early 90s. At the local government level, I was involved in both the politics and governance of the areas. At the state level, however, I've been involved mainly in the politics with virtually no involvement in the governance. I'm therefore not in the best position to carry out a comprehensive assessment of the governance of the various civilian administrations since the creation of this new Cross River State. One can, however, say a thing or two about the impacts of the various administrations from their programs and projects. This session is, however, not for that. I'm not going to attempt a comparative analysis of the administrations of Cross River State. In 1999, a business model of 3 pillars was introduced in the governance of Cross River State. The approach was warmly received, and we hailed it as the dawn of a new era. However, by the end of 2014, the business model had disappeared. The momentum was lost. The movement had derailed, but the idea did not die. This is Cross River State. We are Cross Riverians. We never say die. In May 2015, a new administration came into power with new energy and an entirely different agenda. Promises were made, projections were declared, and signature projects were introduced. We are in 2023, 8 years gone. Where is Cross River State today? As Professor Idaka would say, and I quote, "It is my fervent prayers that as tenure approaches evening, let all the good-spirited Cross Riverians rethink so many things, including where we are and where we are going, commission and omissions, our highs and our lows, our apogee and our nadir in the various political permutations," unquote. The Prof is challenging us to analyze 3 things. This session will, however, attempt to take up only one of those challenges. Where are we? And this would only be looking at a tiny frame of the impacts of the Senator Professor Barrister Ben Ayade, KSJI, a pan-nationalist. At his inaugurations in 2015 and 2019, His Excellency Senator Professor Ben Ayade, KSJI, the Executive Governor of Cross River State, made some declarations and promises to the people of the state. It is our intention to take a look at a tiny part of the interventions of the administration along a few lines. We will not pretend that we can be exhaustive of the programs and projects. We would like to put forward some of the things we have gleaned from the media, both electronic, print, and social, from soft spots, from discussions outside, and as we moved around within the state, seeing some of them in physical terms. We found the focus to have shifted to massive investment in infrastructure, with a tilt to industrialization of sectors in which the state has good comparative advantage. Agriculture is the biggest beneficiary of the efforts of this administration, with projects to boost production in crops like cocoa, banana, cassava, rice, cotton, and a host of others. We also found some wonderful programs. In agriculture, we discovered there's the rice, seed, and seedling production at the Industrial Park in Calabar, an automated rice seedling plant that has capacity to produce high-yielding, vitamized, and disease-resistant rice seedlings. There is the modern poultry farm also in Calabar. This virtually completed project is a modern poultry farm that is designed to provide chicken for the chicken processing factory. The planned Cross River State Banana City in Odukpani and Cross River State Cotton Farm in Yala for the production and eventual processing of banana and cotton. Distribution of rice seedlings, fertilizers, and other farm inputs to support and encourage rural and smallholder farmers to expand rice production are all ongoing activities. Road infrastructure. A good number of road projects have been planned, some are ongoing, and some others have been completed by the way of dualization, expansion, reconstruction, maintenance, and even the building of a flyover at Odukpani Junction. Health. There is a 120-bed space referral hospital in Obudu that is completed, with 2 of the same planned for Akpabuyo and Etum in the southern and central senatorial districts respectively, considering that Obudu covers for the northern senatorial district. Cross River State Pharmaceutical Factory Califam, Calabar, is ongoing, same as the ultra-modern Diabetic Center, Ogoja, and the Fistula Center in Calabar. Upgrading of the School of Nursing Itigidi to a College of Nursing Sciences has been completed, while the renovation with standard equipping of the School of Midwifery Calabar is ongoing. Commerce and industry. Piles and Pylons Factory Awi Akankpa is virtually completed and ready to go. So also are the Cross River State Garment Factory in Jonathan Bypass, Calabar, the Cross River State Toothpick Factory in Ekoriyako, LGA, the Automated Cocoa Chocolate Factory in Ikom, the Ultramodern Rice Mill in Ogoja, the Chicken Processing Factory, Kalachika in Calabar, the Kisimi Noodles Factory in Calabar, and the Roof Tiles Factory in Yala local government area, which is nearly completed. Those in the plant stage include the feed mill in Calabar, the vegetable oil processing factory in Bekwara, the cassava processing factory in Obubra, and the Califam, also in Calabar. Education. We have the British Canadian College of Medicine and Law in Obudu, the Teachers Continuous Training Institute in Biase, and the upgrading of the College of Health Technology in Calabar as part of the educational facilities that have been introduced and in some cases upgraded. Others include the West African Fabrication Academy in Calabar, the setting up of a strong security architecture in Cross River State, the setting up of industrial park security, the Cargo Passenger International Airport in Obudu nearing completion, the Cali Air with 2 Boeing 737 aircrafts, the Bakassi Ultramodern Housing Estate in Bakassi, LGA, the employment of an ever-increasing number of youths in the Food on the Table initiative. The deep sea port and the superhighway are great ideas that are waiting hatching. These are all wealth creation, youth development, and system strengthening activities. And they are strong catalysts for economic recovery and economic growth. The distribution, both by geography and subject, of the projects and programs is a clear expression of the open-mindedness of the Governor Ben Ayade's administration. We can see a deliberate attempt to ensure that every area of the state is touched through the presence of programs and projects to drive development and progress of the people. Every local government area has at least one program and project that can generate or create tangible and durable positive impact amongst the people. The governor's broad-mindedness is clearly visible. It is also clear that the distribution cuts across various areas of development and growth, covering different facets of our lives. One thing that no one can or will deny the administration is that His Excellency Senator Professor Ben Ayade is a man of ideas. That His Excellency is an embodiment of ideas. And that His Excellency is choking with ideas. He has bettered these ideas and developed some of them into tangibles across the state. We still have all the ideas that have not been developed with us for future considerations. And the saying is trite that, quote, ideas rule the world, unquote. One elder, Echinwogu, has also said, and I quote, ideas merchants are not magicians. They sow the seed of ideas and visions, which with time will garner in takers, partners, and helpers. The burden of the vision and idea bearer is usually a heavy burden, far greater than his soldiers, unquote. Therefore, idea bearers need support of intakers, people who will buy into those ideas and turn them into tangibles along with him. Ideas and visions need takers and helpers who will buy in and translate them into tangibles. Otherwise, they will die as dreams. Very often, though, the bearer of ideas and visions are not able to do much more than advance them for others to buy in and convert into tangibles. Many who have been celebrated as heroes have ended up only at the planting of ideas, the bearing of ideas. A people without intellectual leadership will suffer stunted growth. The example of the great Zik of Africa is very clear. An American consultant was commissioned by him to work out a concept for the development of Eastern Nigeria as it then was. The plan worked out by this professional group included the Trans-Amadi Industrial Estate in Port Harcourt, the agricultural development of Umuahia and Obudu areas, the building of a university in the serene village of Nsukka towards educational development, the development of market centers in Onitsha and Aba, while Enugu area, which extends to Abakaliki, was marked out for mining activities, especially coal and salt mining. Zik put these ideas out. He did not turn any of them into tangible. He had no capacity, he had no office, he had no time. But it took Dr. Michael Okpara to buy into them and turn some of them into tangibles within the time available to him that stood Eastern Nigeria out. The foundation of the development of Port Harcourt was the industrial layout, which caused the blossoming of the sea and airports before oil was discovered. In His Excellency Senator Professor Ben Ayade, however, we have a visionary and an intellectual leader who has not only bettered ideas and visions, but has, in addition, taken up the task of translating some of them into tangibles as completed or ongoing programs and projects. The ideas he has put forward are of much quality, that they have attracted resources, including international development partners, to convert a number of them to tangible projects and programs. These projects and programs are themselves, arrange themselves into a 5-pillar business model for the state. The lofty ideas have bettered a business model for the state. Even if these programs and projects were to remain at the plan level or to remain only as ideas, they will still have added value to the state by the fact of the introduction of this business model, which is like a direction to go. The 5-pillar business model, which have come out of Ben Ayade's basic achievements in the state in the last 8 years include Pillar 1, self-actualization. In other words, the complete and full realization of the potential, the abilities, the development, and the capacities of the individuals, small-scale enterprises, communities, local government areas, and even corporate bodies in the state, so that the state will actualize itself and stand on its own. Pillar 2, total emancipation. That is, taking the state to the point of freedom to define, determine, act on, and control its own economic, social, and political priorities with very minimal external influence. You cannot do without external influence, but we must get to the point where it is minimal. Pillar 3, global integration. Looking at some of his projects, you'll find that he has made effort to get the state and its constituting units, that is the local governments and the communities, to engage in global activities of business, of culture, of trade, of economics, education, and politics. Pillar 4, healthy and informed population. Maintaining and sustaining the highest possible quality and status in physical and educational wellness with strong systems in place. Pillar 5, security and determination. Achieving the state of reduced exposure to threats and danger, including life and safety, food security, social security, and environmental security. These are the 5 pillars that have emerged from the programs and projects and ideas that Senator Ben Ayade has introduced into this state, and we cannot take this away from him. This is the direction of development that Senator Ben Ayade has thrown up for Cross River State, moving us from a 3-pillar structure of 1999 to the 5-pillar structure that is bequeathing to this state. Governor Ayade has been greatly misread, misunderstood, and misrepresented in relation to his performance as governor. A number of things may not have come out the way many thought but they should have come out. But in many ways, we can sincerely say that Governor Ben Ayade has achieved. He bore many great ideas and converted some of them into tangibles. His agricultural packaging ranged from improved seedlings and cropping to the conversion of produces through industrial processing. He expanded our health care services, improved the quality and standard of the education of health workers, increased and modernized the capacities of healthcare facilities. In fact, he ensured the healthcare system of the state got strengthened and provided for the construction of and equipping of 3 referral hospitals, 1 in each senatorial district. Mobility infrastructure development include the dualization of some of our busy roads, the rebuilding of a number of other roads, the maintenance of a lot more, the provision of air travel facilities, including the airport and the airplanes, with the ideas of deep sea port and superhighway waiting to be hatched. In education, most of the secondary and primary schools got renovated infrastructure and improved facilities. There is also the Teacher Training Institute and the British Canadian Academy. On social security and humanity, over 40,000 young people have been gainfully engaged in many different ways. Artisanship training facilities have been set up and running, preparing young people for gainful employment. The crown of industrialization of the state, with many industries of developed technologies, some fully functional, and a host more still incubating as ideas with due arrangements for actualization. Mrs. Rosalynn Carter, one time American First Lady, had said, and I quote, "A leader takes people where they want to go. A great leader takes people where they do not necessarily want to go, but where they ought to go, unquote. It is my considered opinion that His Excellency Senator Professor Barrister Ben Ayade has taken the route of a great leader and deserves our respect and accolades. That is my simple and personal opinion of what I have seen resulting from Professor Ben Ayade's government in Cross River State. Thank you.
I would welcome you to another edition of the program Cross River State of Today and Tomorrow. This program is to assess and analyze the activities of the Ben Ayade administration and of course its impact in Cross River State today and how that will translate to what the Cross River State of tomorrow will be like. We are in a transition period. I've heard, of course, exclusively the opinion of our own father. They call him the political oracle. And it's one person that has been part of the scheme of things, not just at the state, but at the national as well, Eda Bolaji Anani. So I want to welcome you officially to this segment of the program.
Thank you very much.
All right. So I've heard about your lofty ideas, thought-provoking analysis on your own personal opinion on the Ben Ayade administration. But then I want to ask you a few questions. Personally, you, from your own standpoint, obviously, you feel Ayade has done well. At least he has laid down a prosperity framework for Cross River State. All right, so based on the achievement of Senator Ben Ayade, what kind of impact do you think he has created? What kind of impact, besides all the things you've mentioned, realistically, where would this place Cross River State for the next dispensation?
Well, I think that if we are objective, we will find that the totality of what he has done, the things we have seen, the programs and the projects we have seen, point in the direction of youth development in the first place. In other words, our youths have been told that government cares about you. Government is concerned about your future. Government wants you to remain focused. Whatever you're earning, however little, see how you can put it together and move with that to take care of a family, to build a family, to build your community, and so on. So that is one emphasis, one system that the Ben Ayade administration has tried to focus on and develop. Okay. He has also tried to ensure that some other systems are taken care of. It's been a bit of challenge, the health systems in Nigeria. But I think that there's also been a focus in the development of the health system in Cross River State to the point where we can say that there is a kind of stabilization, sustainability in the development of the health systems in Cross River State. And we also appreciate that he has considered that without education, the people make no progress in life. And he has thought about ensuring that the people have quality education available to them, close enough for all of us to participate in, to get involved in, and to grow thereby. So he has developed what I think is to prepare Cross River State for tomorrow. Then the industrial development, boy, that is the big catch. If we are talking about development in Port Harcourt and River State, for example, it's that industrial park that Okpara developed in Transamadi layout that sets the foundation. And if you talk about development, why is Lagos so independent? Because of the industrial capacity and strength of the whole of Lagos. Lagos is not oil producing, but Lagos is more independent than even oil producing states because the industries there feed the people, feed the state, and sustain the development. So if Ben Ayade has focused on industrial development and not just putting them out to us as ideas, but turning some of them into practical projects which we can see and completing some of them, then he has given Cross River State a future and a hope.
That's interesting. When you give people a future and a hope, the people need to be able to buy into your template, and they need to also understand the agenda you have set for them. Now, let's look at self-actualization. We know that Ben Ayade expanded government and brought a lot of people on board. and it created, a template which it made a paradigm shift per se, where it brought in a lot of people to be part of the scheme of things in Cross River State. Now, would you say that that is sustainable? Would you say the Benade administration has been able to create a sustainability strategy for the days ahead?
That depends very much on the people.
Okay.
I mean, government can only do what government can do. Ben Ayade has set the direction. He has shown us what is possible. It's now left for the people to determine whether we want to sustain it or not. Whether the government that comes hereafter wants to continue with Ben Ayade's ideas or not, if the people want that ideas to sustain, we have capacity as individuals, we have capacity as group of communities, we have capacity as people to sustain it, to continue with what he has done for us, what he has achieved within our different enclaves. We continue to build on that, and we continue to shine from that direction. So it depends on the people. I don't want to think that it depends on the government that is coming. I rather want to think that it depends on all of us, the people of Cross River State, to buy into that and to sustain it.
All right, so my next question will be, looking at the prosperity agenda that Ayade has laid down for the people. Now, my question is, if the people do not imbibe this framework on ground, what would be the worst case scenario?
Well, I said earlier on that if people do not buy into ideas, they die. And the people who suffer are those who have been left without a vision. The good book says, where there is no vision, where there is no ambition, where there is no hunger to succeed, the people perish. Ben Ayade has given us a direction to develop that hunger. If we see what he has set out here as a goal, as a focus, we should develop the hunger to sustain that focus. If we do not, it is we the people who will suffer. It is we the people who will lose out. The industries that have been set up here can be bought by external people, and the gains flee out of Cross River State. So that we can ensure that the sustainability keeps everything within the state. And I think that, like I said earlier, it depends on the people.
All right, so it always depends on the people. The people, they say the voice of the people is the voice of God. The program remains Cross River State of today and tomorrow, taking a cursory look at the Ben Ayade administration and, of course, the impact he has created in Cross River State as we navigate towards the election, which is a transition that is unavoidable. All right, so I want to take you to Pillar 2, because we are dissecting the pillar. There are actually 5 pillars, and it tagged it, the business model for Cross River State. And of course, we are going to be talking about it one after the other. We talked about self-actualization, and of course, we are looking at whole and total emancipation. Now, we are looking at a people that is emancipated. They say the Cross Riverians are polished, politically and otherwise. Is that truly what it is?
Look, we are a very intelligent set of people in Cross River State. Very intelligent, very hardworking, very productive, very resourceful. However, we are not able to take that to the very end. In some parts of Cross River State, rice is produced very massively. But this rice is bought by people from a neighboring state, processed there, and sold out as rice from their state. Whereas it is from Cross River State. We are unable to take ownership and take it to the end and claim it as our own. We have a lot of timber that people come to harvest from Cross River State, wrongly or rightly, but it is neighboring states that claim ownership. Cocoa, Cross River State is a very expansive cocoa growing area. But we do not have anything to show that cocoa has a home, has a base in Cross River State. It is the Southwest that claims cocoa. There are some areas of Cross River State where cashew grows very much. It is Enugu State that claims cashew growth, but they come to buy it from Cross River State. So I think that we should begin to think of taking off from where Ben Ayade has stopped, where we can begin to take ownership of these things that we grow, these things that we put around, that we develop around us, and take them to the point of processing so that they will have the name of Cross River State tagged onto it. And let it be shown that we are the owners, we are the producers, we are the drivers.
All right, so we've seen a situation where a lot of critical leaders go to the National Assembly, House of Reps, Senate, and then come back and rigmarole within the political landscape of Cross River State. So my next step now is Pillar 3, which is global integration. I've seen a situation where it seems almost like impossible for perseverance to be properly integrated at the national level. What do you think the issue is? Because in the Benaderet administration, I've seen where he has pushed a few young people like Dr. Betaidu, Asoko Ekpanjuda, and the rest to the national, and they fitted in properly. Now, on this issue of global integration, going forward, what would be your own thoughts on that?
I think, as we have said, and you have just alluded to, Ben Ayade has set the direction. A lot of the people who have come in to buy into the ideas he has birthed are from the international community. In other words, there is a relationship between the state and these international organizations. There could be financial institutions, there could be development partners, but there's a relationship that cuts across the borders of Nigeria. That is setting the global integration channel, opening it up for us to pursue. And that he has focused on young people means that he has set the ball in such a way that there is time to sustain that development and to grow it. Because young people have energy, they have time on their side. So we're only hoping that those who have been part of this as young people will catch the fire of this dream and keep it alive. Whether or not they continue in government, but they see this dream as a good one and they want to pursue it to make sure that Cross River States and even parts of Cross River States relate, link up, hook up politically, economically, health-wise, educationally with the global community.
So if you're just tuning out, the program is Cross River State of Today and Tomorrow. Okay, the platform you laid today will transcend to what happens tomorrow, and Cross River is the only state we have, so we are looking critically at the possible things that Governor Ben Ayade has done, and of course how we can consolidate on that. Now we've looked at the 5 pillars. The first one was self-actualization, whole and total emancipation, global integration, and of course up next is the healthy and informed population. Healthy and informed population. Now my next question would be that globally, after the COVID, the whole world began navigating towards achieving universal health coverage, and Cross River State keyed in greatly. Now I know from the Ayade Care initiative to the different intervention with foreign partners and all of that in Cross River State, what would you say would be let me put it this way, what would you rather envisage to see in the days ahead concerning the health sector in Cross River State?
Well, I think that we are talking about both the health and educational sectors. And fortunately for us, he not only has brought in foreign interventions into the state by way of developing institutions that can take care of our future, but he has ensured that referral institutions, tertiary institutions are within Cross River States and therefore at the reach of Cross Riverians, so that we do not need to struggle to go and gain some of these educational qualifications outside that may be too costly for us. And we do not need to begin to find how to travel very far to go and get this health care beyond Nigeria, beyond Cross River State. This is a fantastic idea. If this can be sustained, if the development and the practices, the services in these institutions can be sustained, then we will have a Cross River State tomorrow that will be populated by very healthy and educated people. Okay. And once you have a healthy and educated population, boy, you have a population that is ready to drive the world economically.
All right, so that's interesting. I want you to also give us your personal opinion, because you've been involved in all the administrations, 22 years of democracy, and of course all the interface politically. You've been part and parcel. I want to know from you, when it comes to the 5th pillar, which is security determination, what would you say that Governor Ben Ayade has done differently as regards to security intervention in Cross River State?
Well, let me say clearly in trying to answer your question that I have said before, I've not been involved very much in the governance.
Okay.
I've been involved more in the politics of the administration.
Okay.
However, let us begin to look at the security situation in Cross River State in relation to the security situation in all of Nigeria, in the security situation in the west coast of Africa, the security situation in all of Africa and beyond. When we bear that in mind, then I think we can say clearly that it could have been worse if what is on ground has not been set on ground. And we are only hoping that if all of us begin to be one another's keeper instead of one another's seller, we might be helping the situation and improving the security situation of this state. So he has set the structure. It is for us, the people, to buy into that structure, to cooperate with that structure, to work with that structure, and see how we give ourselves the security environment that we deserve.
All right, so before we go, 8 years down the line, and of course a few months at the end of the Benedict administration, I want you to comment on the kind of legacy you think that Ayade has put in place beyond the factories, beyond other things he must have done in the administration. What practically would you think that is one indelible legacy that Ayade is leaving behind as governor of Cross River State?
Well, I don't know which to rate highest, but I think that I can say that on a specific note, he has given hope to Cross River State. And you begin to see that we can have a future, especially by doing two things or three. Number one, the industrial development. Number two, the youth development. And number three, our education and health institutions strengthening. These begin to help us know that we can be better, we can do better, we have hope. And if we run along these lines, Cross River State will be better tomorrow.
So still looking at the Cross River State of today and tomorrow. Today gives birth to tomorrow because there can never be a better yesterday. That's the reason why we've been interacting on the business model for Cross River State, looking at the Benedict intervention in 8 years. And of course, I was privileged to have here Elder Bolaji Anani, who has taken us on this memory lane, and of course all the critical analysis of the Benedict administration from his own personal standpoint, and he has given us also his own opinion on the way forward for Cross River State if we must get it right. So Elder, for the people of Cross River who are watching and everyone out there, what would be your last message, especially in this transition period?
Well, the only factor who has a future in his hand is God. Let's look up to God. Let's trust our future to God. Let's have hope. Let's trust that it will be well, and it can be well for Cross River State. So look up to God, have hope.
All right, I like that. That's very, very, very interesting. Look up to God, have hope. Hope is very essential. My name is Dr. Lau. Keep letting you in on everything that will be happening in this transition period, and especially looking at the Cross River State of today and tomorrow. Now, let me ask you this question. How do you see the Cross River State of today, and what do you envisage to see in the Cross River State of tomorrow? Please critically think about that and do what you have to do, because as we move forward in this transition period, your PVC is very crucial, the leaders you elect are very crucial, and of course where you stand for something specific. This is not a time for you to be on the fence. Even the Bible says if you're neither hot nor cold, you'll be peeled out. We are in a dispensation where people need to stand for what they believe in for us to build a better Cross River State. My name is Biji Zakbala. Keep watching this very, very thought-provoking edition of the program, Cross River State of today and tomorrow. And wherever you find yourself as a Cross River, be the best version of yourself. I'll see you some other time. Bye-bye.